masters, as these places provide them with a conducive environment where they could relax, dine in style, and interact with their colleagues in a formal setting. If you were to visit Raffles Hotel today, the Victorian-style architecture, fixtures and fittings will remind you about the former occupants of the hotel and provide you with a vivid imagination about the British colonial masters' way of life and Singapore's history as a trading port. Raffles Hotel is still operating as a hotel today. Efforts were made to conserve certain parts of the hotel. For example, the hotel especially opened a museum on the third story so that visitors can view a fascinating collection of memorabilia and a collection of items like cards, dates, photographs, posters, and an old Singapore map from bygone eras which were used in the past during colonial times. Through this experience, visitors will be taken back in time and are able to experience the collective memory of the past colonial masters and occupants in the hotel. Raffles Hotel takes pride in preserving one of its most well-known heritage, which is the doorman. Through this, since its inception, Raffles Hotel has been adopting a strict policy of employing only Sikh males to perform the role as doorman. The symbolic Sikh doormen are immaculately dressed in white attire uniforms, like back during the colonial days. In this way, the rich cultural heritage of the hotel stagnates, and the Sikh doormen have gained a huge reputation in Singapore for its tradition and long history. To further enhance the cultural image of the doorman, the Raffles Hotel has taken efforts to produce doorman magnets and souvenirs, so that guests will be able to have a collective memory of what Raffles Hotel was like, both in the present day and during the past. However, modernization can still be felt in some parts of the hotel, even though the architecture and function of the hotel still remains the same. Rather, it's the demographics of the visitors which contributed to a slight change of the culture of the hotel. Instead of wealthy European guests being the main audiences of the hotel, we can see that there's a large increment in the number of Singaporeans visiting the hotel for shopping and dining purposes. This is a direct contrast to the past, where most of the locals were labourers and coolies, and the vast social class disparity between them and the colonial masters at Raffles Hotel deterred them from visiting the hotel. Since Raffles Hotel mainly catered exclusively for the wealthy people, these poorer locals could not afford to dine at the hotel. The fact that more Singaporeans can be seen dining and shopping at the hotel is an indicator of the changing demographics of the customers which Raffles Hotel caters to. This shows the business orientation culture of Raffles Hotel has probably changed to suit the growing affluence of the local population as well as compared to the pre-independent days. It also portrays the rapid economic development of Singapore and how Singapore has grown from a third world country into one of the 4 Asian tigers with a highly developed economy in just a span of about 50 years. Hence, we are able to see with the economic growth of Singapore, Raffles Hotel has a shift in its culture of serving just the rich European customers, but now caters also to the more affluent crowd of Singapore too.
Fort Canning Park has been a landmark since Singapore's earliest recorded history. Key historic events have taken place upon the hill, including the establishment of the Botanic Gardens and the Lieutenant General's decisions to surrender to the Japanese. The hill was also known as Sir Bonham's Hill, Flag Hill, and Singapore Hill. The Government House is a bungalow, a wooden bungalow where Raffles and his sister's family stayed in. Raffles enjoyed the location so much that he suggested that he be buried here, mixed with the ashes of the Malayan king who first lived here. In 1859, the government house was demolished and the construction of the fort started. The fort was used as defense for this country which is surrounded by water. However, the fort was built too far away from the shore. The fort was demolished in 1907, never having been used in defense of the country ever again. It was renamed Fort Canning Park with the planting of a fruit tree by then Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew on 1st November 1981. Today, Fort Canning has been converted into a historical park. It is also a popular location for picnics and cultural performances. As mentioned earlier, in this Civic District Trail, The government has been promoting it as a unique tourist attraction with historical buildings and green open spaces. Fort Canning Park thus serves as a green open space within the Civic District Trail. At the same time, in line with the Garden City concept adopted by the state, the Fort Canning Park serves to soften the harsh and hard surfaces of the CBD. The cultural practices that are associated with Fort Canning Park have changed. Instead of being a colonial state, the first botanic gardens, or a fort, it is now a public green open space which hosts arts and cultural events. These cultural events include Singfest, Wumet, and many others. However, its colonial past has not been abandoned completely. The state has preserved its colonial past for tourism. Therefore, Fort Canning Park's rich cultural practices have been reduced to make way for more economically viable uses. The colonial links that have been preserved are simply part of the wider economic value of the place. The Mika Building, Ministry of the Information, Communication and the Arts, is a colonial landmark. It used to house the Hill Street Police Station and Barracks, and is thus now also known as the Old Hill Street Police Station. The police vacated the building by 1980, and the National Archives and Oral History Department became its new tenants. With this change, the building was renamed the Hill Street Building. The National Archives, its last occupant, moved out in March 1997 and occupied their new home. On 18 December 1998, the Old Hill Street Police Station, the building was characterized by a typical neoclassical style type of building, which is like the public housing in England in the 1930s. Its facade is symmetrically designed, furnished with balconies, arcades, columns and rough surface blocks. The building is structured into long, thin blocks that surround two internal courtyards. Similarly, rich cultural practices at Mika have been reduced due to modernization. The building no longer serves its primary purpose as a police station or a prison. Rather, it is used as a new headquarters for the Ministry of Information, Communication and the Arts. However, Mika's colonial past has not been completely erased. It is being preserved to add heritage to the place as well as to the Civic District Trail. It was gazetted as a national monument by the Preservation of Monuments Board and is considered a colonial landmark. This increases the attractiveness of the Civic District Trail as a tourist attraction. Therefore, as modernization takes place, the heritage of a place is being preserved only to the advantage of the dominant ideologies. In this case, the government's goal for economic development. Thus, we can say that rich cultural practices associated with Mika no longer serves its primary purpose, but is hybridized with its colonial past to suit the state's goal for economic development.
Here we are at St. Andrew's Cathedral. It seems that St. Andrew Cathedrals, unlike most of the historical sites that we have visited on our trail, has mostly remained the same. What started out as a church 176 years ago still remains a church. Amazingly long indeed. However, much has been added on to the original site in terms of facilities like their north and south, transept extension, aged home and childcare services. It is evident at this religious place of worship that the Anglican Christianity culture has been preserved despite the effects of modernization. I believe this is one of the rare cases in which the group has managed to preserve its original culture in its original site. Not only that, they have managed to expand their culture to reach out further into this society, which has gone through much changes through the process of modernization over the years. It is evident that the Anglican Christianity culture has been preserved at this religious place